Hi, this is Teresa. I'm back again with tip number 3 in Tips for Fitness Success. In the first tip, I talked about getting your mind ready because that's foundational to be successful in anything you're doing, especially if you're on a fitness journey. Quite often we start and we get going gung ho, but we're just not totally committed. And so, in that first video, I talk about how to create a commitment statement. So, go back and watch it if you haven't seen it. In tip number 2, I talk about making a list, and I'm not talking about a list of things to do. It's a list of excuses and obstacles that are going to get in your way. So go back and watch that as well. In this one, I'm going to carry forward from tip number 2. An excuse we all have is, what do I do next? And so I want you to think about two things when you think about your first steps to getting fit and active again. Quite often, we just go to the gym and start working on equipment. We don't really have a plan. So, the two things you need to think about: flexibility and stability. That's what you want to be going for. Okay. You haven't been moving very much lately. So, your joints need to improve the range of motion. Otherwise, you're going to get injured. And we're talking about being fit for life, not just for a few months. So if you go all in and start making yourself miserable trying to do strength training, you're going to end up injured because your body's not ready. So, tip number 1, you get your mind ready. Guess what? Tip number 3, you got to get your body ready to move again. And anything you do is going to be beneficial to your body. So, flexibility. Let's do some flexibility training. You can look things up online, or you could work with me in the future and I could give you some exercises to do. But look up some yoga moves. Those are great. You want to get your hips flexible. You want to get your upper body flexible, your back flexible. You want to think about your calves, especially if you're going to start walking, because your calves, if they get tight, guess what? They're going to pull on your feet, your Achilles and your plantar fascia, and you're going to end up ripping your foot, your feet, and you're going to be miserable. So you want to keep those calves especially stretched, and your hips tend to get tight, if you're sitting a lot. So you want to get your hips loosened up. So look up some yoga exercises or get into a yoga class if you want to do that, because usually that'll really get you nice and ready to go, because it'll increase your core stability as well. And so I'm going to go back to flexibility, then I'm going to talk about stability as well. But there are two kinds of flexible exercises I want to talk to you about with stretching. One is dynamic, and that's what we do before an exercise to get warmed up. And that's for less than 30 seconds. You're going to be doing the motion that you will be doing in your exercise. Like if you're walking, you'd be swinging your legs or your arms, or stuff like that. It's basically simulating movement to get you loosened up. So just think about getting yourself loosened up and warm, because you don't want to just surprise your muscles, because they're not, they get tight just from not moving. So dynamic gets you to the flexibility that you are already if you're warmed up. It doesn't increase your flexibility. It just gets you to where you are, so that when you go to do something, you're not accidentally ripping your muscles because they're not warmed up. But another kind of flexibility is static stretching. And that's going to increase your flexibility. And that's what you want to look at. After you're warmed up, say you go for a walk or you find a way to warm your body up, you do some static stretching. And that would be whatever the stretch is. Say, I'm going my upper body like this, but I do it for at least 30 seconds. And what that does is it releases your muscle. It's called the Golgi tendon organ. Okay. It's a protective mechanism that releases your muscle so it won't get damaged. So you want to do it for 30 seconds plus, and that will help stretch your muscles beyond what they are usually allowed to stretch, because that tendon organ will release it. And then you can slowly increase over a period of time your flexibility in your joints. This would increase my shoulder flexibility, wouldn't it? And my range of motion. Your joints can't move if your muscles are all tight around them. And you want to be able to increase your range of motion. You got to get those joints moving, right? So do some flexibility exercises. Static stretching is what you want to be thinking about. Okay. So the next thing is stability exercises. You can do this at home. Anything that would be working your core area would be really good to start with. Get a mat, a yoga mat, and do some bird dogs. That's where you're pointing, with your feet and your legs. Look them up. Or, like I said, if you don't know the exercises, I can get you started if you sign up for my program. But bird dogs are great. Curl ups are great, but if you do curl ups, bend one knee. Curl ups, you remember those from elementary school. Um, Bend a knee so you can spare your back. Be really careful about your back with that. And side planks. That'll get your obliques nice and firm. You want to go from being a square piece of jello at your core to an apple core, because then it'll be safer for you to start working out the rest of your body and do other activities, because you don't want to get injured, right? So if you go and get your core stable so we can stabilize the rest of your movement, it'll be like going from walking on dry sand to walking on firm sand. Just think of that, the difference. That'll help you not get injured. So flexibility and stability will help you get ready so you don't end up injured. Because if you get injured, then you're going to stop your momentum for getting fit again. So that's just two things I want you to think about. If you have any questions, please message me. I would love to talk to you about how to get started. I want you to get moving. And if you're really interested in being really successful in fitness for life, contact me and we'll talk about my Be Empowered for Fitness Success program, it's an 8-week program that'll really get you going. Okay. Have a wonderful day.